You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
And here we go. It's Friday again. It's that time of the week again, Robbie. It's great to be on me again. Thanks for being here, Robbie.
No problem, Regan. Thank you so much for allowing me to come back on. The storm is brewing outside. Anybody in Scotland will know what it's like right now. It's not even fully hit yet. I believe it starts at 5 o'clock, so still a bit of time to go. It's still really, really wet, but there's a big weekend of football coming up, Regan. Whether all the games go ahead on the card or no, that's a different story, but I am looking forward to it.
Aye, there's certainly a few storms brewing in Scottish football. We've got the Rangers and Russell Martin. We've got the Kevin Fairwell and the supporters. We've got Kevin Fairwell and his boy is now the head of recruitment at Rangers. And you've got Brendan Rodgers and Celtic. A very disappointing result last night, Robbie. I was at the game. I thought Celtic done well for the first 20, 25 minutes. I actually felt at the match it was a pretty decent goal, but then when I watched it back, it wasn't a decent goal. I thought Schmeichel should have saved it, but when I seen one viewing of it, to give you a bit of context, Robbie, I sit in the halfway line, so I kind of thought it was I thought it was a very good goal. I thought there was nothing he could do about it. But on the second and third viewing, when I checked out the TNT app, I just feel like Schmeichel should be definitely saving it.
Aye, Michael's got to do a lot better. It was a bad week for Scottish teams in Europe once again, Regan. Starting the halfway a wee bit of a start. Scotland obviously 3 out of 3 defeats this week in Europe. Cyprus have now jumped above Scotland in the coefficient rankings. If you were interested in how that's gone in European competitions. So that's not a great reading.
There you go, Rob. A wee bit of trivia for you here. I know, is it Passos there in the Champions League for Cypriot football, but who else, Robbie? There you go.
Who else? No.
A wee bit of trivia for us there.
Aye. No, I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure about Cypriot teams. I know there's been a few shockers in the Champions League. I know that Karabag or however you said their name, they're progressing quite well in the Champions League right now. But no, I'm not sure any other Cypriot teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting week. I mean, Celtic's opponents in the playoff, Kaira Almaty got beat 5-0 by Real Madrid. It could have been going on 10. But I think it's just been interesting this week, Robbie, that there's been a statement by the Celtic board about possibly meeting up with the fans on Monday afternoon.
I've not seen anything about that, mate, but I think that's probably a step in the right direction. I mean, obviously, the attendance was quite low compared to the usual standards at Celtic Park last night. I thought more fans would have turned up. Obviously, I believe the planned the planned protest get cancelled.
Sorry, Robbie, for context, that got cancelled because the club got in touch with all its supporters group and also the Celtic the Disabled Supporters Association. They got in touch with all of them and they said basically that they're allowed up to 2 people from each delegation to speak to Michael Nicholson on Monday. I did find it interesting though that Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay are the only ones that are going to be present. Not Peter Lowell or Dermot Desmond or Brendan Rodgers or Callum McGregor. I think it'll be interesting to see if Brendan Rodgers or anyone like that goes ahead. I did see a few Celtic fans online last night, Robbie, were getting quite annoyed because when Celtic were getting beat, all of the board in attendance were looking quite happy and jokey and like not looking as if they were caring too much.
Aye, well, there was a point in the game where you were 1-0 down, and the pan to the sort of board, the directors, and they're just all sitting on their phone, typing away, and you're just kind of thinking, your football team's 1-0 down. there's a bit of, dismantle between the fans and the board, and the best thing you're doing sitting on your phone. But Reagan, look, it's a step in the right direction having this meeting.
Part of me actually thinks they're actually enjoying this, because don't forget, Robbie, a few weeks ago there was a certain journalist says that there's people within the club that want Brendan Rodgers to be out of the club. So, and Brendan Rodgers is looking for a way out. So I personally think that Brendan Rodgers won't be there at the end of the season, but I don't think it's a very good dynamic that the board, the support, and the manager are certainly not on great terms at the moment, Robbie.
No, there's definitely a disconnect, Reagan, and look, the positive is for Celtic fans at least, and I'd love to hear obviously your thoughts on this. To me, on the outside, there's a step in the right direction. This meeting is a step in the right direction. It's a very small step compared to what Celtic fans want, but it is a step closer to achieving that goal.
I think it's a step in the right direction, and it's also a step in the right direction because Graham has joined us.
Evening, chaps.
It's great to have you on, Graham. And I mean, it's the Edinburgh Derby. I mean, we're just talking there about Celtic board at the minute and the disconnect with the club. But I mean, there's certainly no disconnect at the Time Capsule Club at the moment, Graham.
No, it's going very well, which is worrying because you know that ends up going to be an absolute disaster. But I'm loving it at the moment. It's great.
And I think, Graham, as well, I mean, we'll get on to it, but the first game we'll speak about this week is the Edinburgh Derby. I mean, talk to us about how excited you're look forward to this match tomorrow. Hopefully, Storm Amy won't get in the way of it.
Well, hopefully there'll be a few storms tomorrow. Storm Shanklin, Storm Braga, Storm Kisridis. Hopefully a storm in the right direction for Hearts. But yeah, I had to get in there.
Storming your way to victory, Graham.
Well, I certainly hope so, mate. That's the plan. No, I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a decent game. I think both teams going at this decent form. Obviously, Hearts have won 5 and drawn 1. Hibs have won 1 and drawn 5. So we're both unbeaten. And I think as well, we've not actually won a derby since 2023. We've not beat Hibs at home since January 23. So that's got to change at some point. But we are going at this in really good form. We're scoring goals. 15 goals already this season in the league. We're not conceding too many. At home, you'd expect Hearts to win this game. You know, Derek McInnes will have these players up for it. We are going to have at least, certainly in the starting lineup, 6 players making a derby debut, which is a lot, but I think they'll show the right mentality. But yeah, it's one of these games that, speaking to a few mates and stuff that are Hearts fans, they can't wait for this. They think it's going to be 4 or 5. I don't agree with that. I think it'll be far closer than that. I don't think it'll be anywhere near. I'd love nothing more, but I think it'll be far tighter than folk think it will be.
Reagan, if I can just play devil's advocate there with Graham and play for the Hibs perspective quickly. Hibs obviously just coming off the back of a 0-0 draw at Celtic Park. Dropping big characters like Rocky Bashiri. Obviously managed to keep a clean sheet finally for David Gray, but I don't think it fully solves the problem that they seem to be having right now. Conceding goals, they're conceding them left, right and centre. Defence has probably been the critical point of weakness in the Hibs squad right now. So I think, look, Hearts have every right to be confident going ahead into this game. Graham, you have every right to be confident with the power that Hearts have, but it's no taking away from the fact Hibs have some incredible frontline players: Jamie McGrath, Kieran Bowie, Martin Boyle. There's players in there that can cause Hearts problems also. So it's going to be a really, really tight game. I think you're right, Graham. I don't think it is going to be a 4 or 5-0 Hearts or a big scoreline the other way. I just can't see it being like that.
No, I don't think it will be, Robbie. And I think as well, Graham, I think this is the best time for Hearts to play Hibs as well, because I wouldn't say they're playing the best at the moment. And as well, I mean, Derek McInnes has got you guys absolutely flying at the minute.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't jinx this, but Derek McInnes has never lost a home game against Hibs for any team he's managed. And I've probably just completely jinxed that now. But We are playing with a lot of confidence. We're flying high. We're scoring goals. And I think I said this when I was on last time. We're not a case of if you stop Lauren Shanklin, you stop Hearts. You've got guys like Braga. You've got Kizridis. You've got guys on the bench. We're now scoring goals for set pieces. We've got threat from everywhere. So it's not a case of stopping one guy and you stop Hearts. I think that's a big, big thing for us. We're going into this full of confidence. I was at the game last week against Falkirk, and it's very early. It's very early days, of course, but that's by far the best game we played so far this season. We looked so confident. We were trying things. I've been listening to Derek McInnes in the build-up to this game, and he's talking about the fact that he doesn't want the game to be sanitised. You know, he doesn't want players to be scared. He wants them to just go for it. And I think that's what Hearts will do tomorrow. We're not going to sit back. You know, he thinks we've got an obligation to attack because we're at home, and he's right. And I think it is going to be difficult. I don't know how Hibs are going to line up. I watched highlights of the game against Celtic last week. Defended very well, but didn't really do much going forward.
No.
Will they sit back and try and defend and try and take a sting out of Hearts? Will they go for it? I'm intrigued to see how Hibs are going to line up tomorrow.
I think they'll just sit back for the first 35 minutes to try and settle into the game and then try and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie's right, what he said earlier. They do have threats. McGrath, Bowie, Boyle, they're going to be a threat. But I look at the players we've got, and it's just that we've got such an attacking threat now. We've got pace up there as well. You know, Kizridis recently has been absolutely flying. Look at the goal he got last week, but it's not just that.
The goal he got last week, Graham, talking about being in the stadium, but I mean, see as soon as that ball left his foot, I think you must have known that ball was going straight in the back of the net.
Oh, well, I was in the Roseburn stand, so just behind it, and you could tell as soon as he hit it, that's going top corner. I mean, Scott Bain had to cheat to die for it. He was getting nowhere near it. It's a great strike. But even then, it was all through the game. His willingness to take his man on, his first touch, the link-up he's got with Braga and Shankland. It is quite exciting. Like, I'm not going to deny it. It's exciting to be a Hearts fan just now. Given how bad it was last season, I'm loving it. We're sitting top of the league. I mean, who'd have thought going into Edinburgh Derby, the first derby of the season, we'd be sitting top, 2 points ahead of Celtic, a chance to go 5 points clear before Celtic play on Sunday. It is very encouraging, but I'm taking nothing away from the fact Hibs are going to be a difficult test tomorrow. Like, I know that. It's a derby game.
I'm going to ask you as well, because I'm quite interested. Is this the first time in a while that you actually feel that you could finish first or second? Because for me, Celtic and Rangers don't look as if they can score many goals. Both of them.
I'd love to say yes. My heart would say yes. My head would say no. I think realistically, I do think Celtic will improve. They've got too many good players not to. They've got a good manager there. I do think Celtic will improve. But there is no doubt we could finish second. You know, look at where we are just now compared to Rangers, Hibs, Aberdeen. With that squad we've got, with the manager we've got, there's no doubt we could finish second. I mean, Tony Bloom came in and he said that he'd be disappointed if Hearts have not won the league in 10 years. And a lot of folk laughed at that, but I'm thinking, why not? Why not be ambitious? And if anyone can prove that he could do it, it's Tony Bloom. Well, what he's done at Brighton and USG, he can prove it. So I think finishing first, it would be amazing. But realistically, I don't think it'll happen because I do think Celtic will get stronger. And as well, I think the big thing for me is, come January, if we are still up there, if we're top of the table or even just a few points behind Celtic, that January window becomes interesting. Because Tony Bloom, I think, has basically said that he would strengthen again. So I think we need to see where we are in January before we even think about challenging for the title. It's too early.
Graham, there's a lot, there's a lot of talk about that right now at Hearts, and I think every Hearts fan and McInnes is right to sort of play that down a wee bit and say, look, take it one game at a time. It's still very early in the season. There's still like 32 games left to play, so nothing's ever guaranteed right now. But is it a bit hard not to be a bit complacent, not to be a bit like, we're doing very well at the moment? Because you go into this game tomorrow and Hearts have everything in their favour. There's no reason why Hearts shouldn't go and win this game no matter how tough the opponent is.
No, absolutely. We're playing with a lot of confidence. Like, the big thing for me was going to Ibrox. I know that Rangers are not a good side, but I said it previously before I came on the show that we hadn't beat Rangers since 2020. We'd not won at Ibrox for about, 5 or 6 years. That was a big win for me. And it's how we did it. We went there, we had a go, we didn't sit back and we won the game. And every game we've played so far under McInnes, we've gone for it. We've not sat back and tried to defend. When McInnes first came in, I think a lot of fans thought he's going to be defensive. He's not done that yet. St Mirren game, disappointing, but I thought we're the better side in the second half. But every game he's played, he's gone on to try and win the game. And he said that himself. And I think we'll do the same thing tomorrow. A lot of fans, I said this on my own TikTok page, I'm not going to have a go at fans that think we can win the league, because why not be excited? But I am not at that stage yet. I want to see where we are come January. If we're still up there, maybe you talk about a title race, but it's only 6 games in. It is far too early. I think Derek McInnes and the players will not get complacent. Again, I've seen pictures the last couple of days from the training sessions. Everyone on the Hearts side looks buzzing. They look delighted. They look really happy. They're looking forward to the game tomorrow. But it's going to be a completely different atmosphere for some of these players tomorrow. The 6 players that I've said making the Derby debut, they won't have had this before. It's a very different atmosphere. But there's no reason we should not go into this conference. If we win tomorrow, go into national break, 11 points behind Hibs, 11 points ahead of Hibs, sorry. What a start it's been. Honestly, it's been incredible.
Just going to say, you, Graham, see like Devlin, I think Devlin's been a cracking player, and so is Shineland, but Devlin can always get a wee bit too fiery. So I think if the Jamboes are to win tomorrow, Graham, then I think he needs to make sure that he doesn't make any draft tackles or things like that, Graham, because it's so important that you make sure that you've got all your players on the park at the same time.
It's funny you say that, mate, because one of my mates, another Hearts fan, messaged me today to ask what I thought about the game, and he said we need to make sure we don't get daft yellow cards or red cards, and he's right. And yeah, Devlin's one of them. You can't take away how Devlin plays. He's all energy, he's all passion, but he will have to kind of rein that back a bit tomorrow, because he can't afford to go to 10 men. It's a difficult game enough without him going and lunging in. But I think Devlin's been outstanding so far this season. I think he's on a new lease of life under McInnes. He's getting forward a bit more as well, which he wasn't doing before. One of the criticisms of Cammy Devlin previously from Hearts fans was he didn't do enough going forward on the ball. He's doing that now. He's been a bit more progressive in his passing. And he's actually been called up to the Australia squad today for their next 2 games. So fair play to him. I think he's been brilliant. And as well today, Hearts posted this afternoon that Harry Milne has signed a contract extension. I think he has been sensational. I think he has been fantastic. He's making folk forget about James Penrice, who I was a massive fan of. But Penrice, Milne was signed as a left back, and the last 2 games he's played right wing, and he's not looked out of place. I think he'll play the same team tomorrow for the 3rd game in a row. And I can't remember the last time Hearts played the same team 3 games in a row.
Graham, you mentioned, sorry, Vig, I was just going to say, Graham, you mentioned players there making a step into the Derby game and the big occasion. Alexander Swalov has played 2 games for Hearts, 2 clean sheets. That's including that away win at Ibrox. You've got to be confident with the guy in between the sticks. I mean, that guy's played in the Bundesliga, probably the most intense league in the world, I want to say, with the fan base, that some of the fans are there are absolutely crazy. So getting into the game tomorrow, you've got to be confident with him and goals. The
difficulty is, Robbie, I don't know how good he is, because he's not really been tested in the 2 games he's had. Like at Ibrox, he made a decent save in the first half. Second half, I think there was a couple of dodgy moments. Obviously, the goal that Rangers scored that was disallowed. I think the Falkirk game last week, again, didn't have a lot to do. I thought there was a couple of times he could have come off his line a bit quicker, but he's not really been overly tested yet. Yeah, he's had 2 clean sheets and all that continues. He's a big guy. He's a big presence. Clearly, the defence seem to rate him, but it's difficult to know how good he is because he's not really been tested yet. And I think tomorrow will probably be his first real test. I want to see how he gets on tomorrow before I start thinking this guy's a really top goalkeeper.
I think it's probably safe to say though he can probably handle the pressure of the game, the big game factor. He has played in the best league, one of the best leagues for that sort of pressure in the world. So at least he's not going to be shy of confidence.
No, absolutely, and he's got a very good defence in front of him. Said it previously. For me, I think when they're fit, Halkett and Finley's our best 2 centre backs. They've been outstanding so far this season, and they'll have to be tomorrow against a guy like Kieran Bowie, who I think is a really good player. He's maybe struggled a bit lately, But a game like tomorrow is going to be a big, big test for those two. And if they can handle him and obviously Martin Boyle as well with the pace he's got, then we might be okay. But I think Swallow so far has done okay, but he's not really been overly tested yet.
I think the interesting thing for me, Graham, as well, is Shankland is so important to the team this season, but also you've got so many threats in the team as well.
Yeah, it's what I said earlier, Reagan. It's nice the fact that for too long, it's always been if you stop Shankland, you stop Hearts. It's not the case this season. If Shankland's not playing well, you've got Braga. If Braga's not playing well, you've got Kizaridas. You've got guys off the bench like Kabangu, Wilson, guys like that off the bench as well. We're a real threat now. And I said it earlier, we're a threat for set pieces. Previously, when we've had set pieces like corners, I've thought we're going to get nothing off this. But now we look like we're going to score. So we're a threat everywhere. Fair play to McInnes because he sorted that out. I mean, there's been a lot of talk the last couple of days about the fact that Shankland's not in the Scotland squad. He is. He's got 7 goals so far this season. He maybe should be in there, but I'm kind of glad he's not, because it means he can just focus on Hearts. And he looks far happier than he did last season. But nobody was happy last season because they were terrible. But he looks really confident, and he looks as well. The link up that he's got with Braga and Kizaridas has been outstanding. Like, between them, we've scored 32 goals so far in our competition this season. 17 of those have come from Braga, Shankland and Kizaridas. So you can see where the threat's going to be tomorrow. It's those 3. But Shankland so far has been fantastic. 75 goals for Hearts in the time he's been here. And he's got over 100 goal contributions. He's been phenomenal. And he looks far better than he did last season. But that wouldn't have been hard.
Graham, how glad are you went for McInnes in the end? I remember I made a video months ago, when Hearts were looking for the manager. There was a lot of people that wanted a lot of the foreign approach to the managers and, go down a different route like Aberdeen have done with Tulane. But how happy are you that Hearts did stick to home? I know you said it time and time again, McInnes wouldn't be a bad appointment. He's got his strengths and I think he's shown that so far.
Yeah, I was one of the ones that did say would have gone the foreign route after what happened with Neil Critchley, and I still don't know why his name's getting mentioned on Twitter. That needs to stop. But I probably was of the opinion that a foreign manager might not be a bad opinion. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, actually, no, McInnes is the right idea. Plenty of experience, knows the Scottish game, can get the best out of these players. A lot of folk thought he was going to be far too defensive, and he's not done that. He has gone for it every game, which I quite like. And when he knows that he's got things wrong, he's changed it. Now, yes, there's been occasions where we had to change it at half-time because he maybe not picked the right team. But now I think he's starting to realise his best team and his best formation. He's played the same team 2 weeks in a row, which I can't remember the last time he did that. So I think he is now starting. We've got a big squad. He's now starting to find out what his best team is, and he's got it in the park every week. So yeah, I think McInnes has been fantastic so far. And I know a lot of folk don't care about what managers say, like look at Russell Martin and stuff, but I think the way McInnes comes across as well, so positive. He just talks so positively. And if we don't play well, he won't hide. He'll admit that. So I think he's been fantastic so far, but he knows himself a bigger game tomorrow is. I heard him talking earlier on today about he's been drumming at the players how big this game is. He knows. And he said himself, when the fixtures came out, this is a game that he circled in his calendar. He's looking forward to this as much as everybody. So, yeah, he's been fantastic so far, but if we lose tomorrow, it might be McInnes out. It won't be.
Who's going to be the match winner, Graham, for you? Who's going to be the players that you're looking to score the goals?
Well, I've given my prediction previously. I think it'll be a really good game. Like, I think this could be one of the best Emirates hours for a while. I'll probably just jinx that as well. But I've actually said 3-2 to Hearts. The only thing I would say is I don't know what the conditions are going to be like with this storm. It could be a horrendous night in terms of the weather. So that could be a factor.
Storm Amy is battering the country. She's doing her best. But I think I'm going to go for 4-1 to Hearts.
I would take that right now.
That is a big scoreline prediction. I'm going to go Storm, Claudio, Braga and Queen tomorrow. I'm going to go 3-0 to Hearts and Braga scores a hat-trick.
I mean, I don't know who's caused the biggest storm so far. Storm Amy or Bonnie Blue? It's one of the two.
You certainly caused a storm in Scotland the other week.
Graham, see if Braga scores a hat trick and we get a live rendition on TikTok of you singing the song.
Oh, mate, I would even do it naked if that happens. Yeah, that's not going to happen, by the way. I'll sing the song, but not like that.
Oh, is cloudy over. I heard it.
That is seriously the best song ever, by the way. Whoever made that is a genius.
It's great. I think it's Graham because he loves Freddie Mercury so much. But no.
I love Queen, mate. They're my favourite ever band. They're brilliant.
I mean, in terms of some threats for David Gray's team, Robbie, in terms of the players that potentially could score for them, who are you thinking there?
I mean, look, they definitely could score, even though I just went 3-0 Hearts. But you're looking at guys like, Mulligan's a decent player. You've got a top end, sort of Keane Bowie, Martin Boyle, sort of usual characters. Jamie McGrath's been turning it on a wee bit, although Hibs fans don't seem to like him. For what I've seen on highlights, he seems to have gotten well, but Hibs fans who watch the full games disagree. Look, we know Hibs' strength.
Robbie, I think the best player for me this season at Hibs has been Josh Mulligan. He's been really good.
He's been a standout player. I mean, I don't know how many times when Rangers are playing, you hear the sort of Barry Ferguson wanted to sign him for Rangers and all that. He's got a lot of quality. Graham's right. It's not just going to be a walkover for Hearts. It's an Edinburgh derby. Anything can happen. I don't want to quite say the term form goes out the window because I don't think that is true. I do think there is obviously factors to that, but both teams will know their strengths and each other's weaknesses. I think Hearts are a bit better equipped, in my opinion, Graham. I don't know if you'd agree to maybe exploit Hibs' weaknesses. That defence is there to be got at. I think obviously it was good of them to get a clean sheet at Celtic Park, but again, they didn't do it on the other side. So I definitely think if you're a Hearts fan, you're very confident getting into the game tomorrow.
I'm interested to get you guys' thoughts because Brendan Rodgers highlighted it last week. He said Grant Hanley was a very key aspect to why Celtic didn't score. Obviously, David Gray left out Rocky Bashiri and put in Grant Hanley. Do you guys think that he'll stick with Grant Hanley, or do you think he'll go with Rocky?
He'll stick, I think.
Interesting, because Rocky Bashiri's been really good for a couple of years now.
Aye, but I think Hibs defensively have been worse with Rocky in it, and that's not to say it's entirely Rocky's fault. Hibs play with a back three, that might just not be working. But in this bigger game, I think you go with your experience, man. I don't know if there's a way to fit both of them in. I don't know, that might be too far stretched, but I think you've got to stick with Grant Hanley in the starting lineup.
I was trying to think of a David Gray song there, Graham, but I couldn't think of. I was going to say, hopefully David Gray will be sailing away from your point of view tomorrow.
I mean, I personally hope Rocky Bashiri starts because he's given Hearts a few goals recently, so hopefully he starts.
Fair enough. So that's the Edinburgh Derby. Hope that everybody enjoys it. It's going to be live tomorrow on Premier Sports. Is it a 5:30 kickoff, Graham? Is it
5:45? So half the crowd's when we get there.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think the nighttime matches are so much better. I just think there's something about nighttime football.
Aye,
the atmosphere, no matter when it was going to be amazing. But a 5:45 kickoff Saturday night, the atmosphere is going to be amazing tomorrow, I think.
See, I don't know why they don't do these big matches at night more often, because I don't know if there's some sort of restriction in terms of drinking or maybe people getting too socially ready and up for the match. But I just think these matches add an extra spice because
I think it's just telescheduling, to be honest with you. I think that's probably why some of the matches are on at usually 12 o'clock. But you're right, nighttime matches are better. I remember the Celtic Rangers match at night. I can't remember what it's called. The Celtic no goal 4-0 within 20 minutes.
Rio Hattati, Celtic went 3-0 up in the first 20 minutes, aye.
That was some game, man. And that was at night as well. So that definitely can be good games. And like as Graham said, it'll be no different no matter what time the kick-off is at tomorrow. It'll be fantastic. And I wish both teams luck because it'll be a really, I think, a good game to watch.
Well, after tomorrow, our next game's also 5:45 away to Kilmarnock after the international break. That's Premier Sports as well. So 2 5:45 kickoffs for us.
Yeah, I might try and get along to that game, actually, because that'll be a cracking game to watch. I was just going to say to you, Graham, obviously, 2 of your shot stoppers are in the Scotland squad. Who do you think Steve Clarke will pick? Because he's got a third choice goalkeeper in Angus at Nottingham Forest. He's got Craig Gordon, the number 2 at Hearts, and then he's got Xander Clark, the number 3 at Hearts.
I am very surprised that Craig Gordon's in the Scotland squad. Now, I love Craig Gordon. He's my favourite ever Hearts goalkeeper. But he's not played a single minute this season. So I think it probably shows the lack of top-class goalkeepers in Scotland, the fact that Craig Gordon's in there, where he's not even playing at the moment because he's been injured. And again, Xander Clark as well, he's not playing. You know, he's behind Schwoloff. He was behind Ryan Fulton as well. But clearly Steve Clarke is looking at Kieran Slicker after that, what happened the last time. So I think it just goes to show that the lack of goalkeepers we've got coming through, that a 42-year-old who's not played a game this season is back in that Scotland squad. He's not going to play, but personally, I don't think he should be in there.
People were wanting Scott Bain for Falkirk to go in the squad at one point, I was reading. So, I mean, that does show the sort of lack of depth, and that's no disrespect to Scott Bain. I've heard in a couple of games this season he's looked all right, but, we have summed it up there with Craig Gordon getting in. I don't know if that's maybe just an experience thing in the background, maybe to hover in the dressing room, that big figurehead. I don't know, but it is definitely a worrying situation for Scotland.
Who do you guys think will play for Scotland?
Gunn.
Do you think he'll be on? Yeah, because I was possibly thinking Craig Gordon might play because I'm not a big fan of Angus. I've got to be honest. I hope his dad's not watching, but I'm just not a big fan of him. I don't think he's a very good shot stopper. I think the game against Germany, okay, people can say it's against big opposition, but he probably should have saved 2 or 3 of the actually shots that he wasn't able to save.
You're not going to throw Craig Gordon in that game against Greece when he's not played for Hearts. Like I said, as much as I love Craig Gordon, it makes no sense to me for him to be starting against Greece when he's not played. Because my worry would be if he comes back and then he gets injured away again, or he gives the goal away, then you're thinking, why did you play him? So I just think, for me, I don't think Craig Gordon should start.
I want Xander. That would be my ideal pick. I just like Xander, but I've got a bit of a soft spot for Xander. I don't know what it is. I've just always liked him as a goalkeeper. I think he's always been amazing. I know he's had a few bad spells last season, Graham, but I did really like him. So I'd pick Xander, but obviously, in my opinion, I think he will go with Gunn for these games.
I think it'll be interesting. But to move on then, obviously, I think we'll talk now about the Celtic, Rangers and Aberdeen in Europe. I don't think it went as I don't think it went totally as planned. As Robbie was telling us earlier on the show, Cyprus are now ahead of Scotland in the UEFA ranking.
I think that probably sums it up, to be honest with you. It was just a really brutal week for Scottish teams in Europe. I think that's the only way to sum it up. Aberdeen, I actually thought done all right, to be honest with you, but at the end of the day, they lost the game. So it doesn't ultimately mean much in the end. Rangers, just again, that second goal should probably get Russell Martin sacked on its end, to be honest with you. Another dreadful goal to lose. Celtic just looks so uninspiring. I think obviously the big decisions, the Iheanacho goal that gets chopped off, and for me, I don't know how VAR have managed to come to that conclusion, but
that's never a handball. That's one of the worst decisions I've seen this season. That's never a handball.
Honestly, I mean, Joe Hart was going off. He's not on commentary because I just don't see what the VAR room have seen.
Yeah, I think it's very strange, especially because they take that long to decide. And it was actually the referee who gave the goal, and then the VAR said no.
I mean, why? Again, I've been kind of very vocal on the fact that I don't think it's really VAR that's the problem. It's the officials, because it is still human error. But why is a VAR official getting involved in that? Like, you watch that I don't know how many times, there was no touch from Iheanacho on the hand at all. Look like his head rather than anything else. I don't know where they've got that from. There was no need for the VAR to get involved in that. It's an awful, awful decision. We've seen this season, we've seen so many bad decisions, but that's up there as one of the worst because there is no way that is a handball.
Graham, is that not worrying to you guys? But that's the top European officials. That's Europa League standard, and we come on this show. We couldn't complain about the Scottish referees. Never mind the big time referees in the leagues.
We keep talking about it's meant to be clear and obvious, right? That took 3 minutes. At what point is that clear and obvious when it takes 3 minutes? You couldn't see. There was no conclusive proof that touched Iheanacho's hand because it just didn't. Like, honestly, it's an awful decision.
And I think if Celtic go in that game at 1-1, I think Celtic go in there and they I don't think they get beat from that match because I think they actually played okay. Okay, you can say, well, they didn't really play too much, but I thought the first half Celtic done okay. I thought Sebastian Tonetti was the best player for Celtic last night. He had a few chances.
He's slowly becoming the Celtic version of Gassama at Rangers. He is a standout player for Celtic. Regan, I'm interested. I want to ask you a question actually. Would you drop Schmeichel for the next for Motherwell at home?
I would, because I thought if I didn't really see the first goal, Robbie, because I thought from my position at the halfway line, I could just see the strike. But the second goal, I think it's all he needs to deal with that better. And I think from the position that I sat in the halfway line, Robbie, I think he plays the ball out far too much. And to be honest with you, Robbie, he's not even able to play it for the back. He's probably too old to do that now.
No, I just thought Celtic for large parts. I thought you're right. If it was one each in the game, I maybe thought Celtic would have went on and won it. But the whole crowd factor mixed with everything that's going on at Celtic just made it a really tough watch. I mean, Graham Fenwick said, would you drop Schmeichel for the next match?
Probably. I mean, watching the goal yesterday, it was a poor goal to lose. It's not a bad strike, but you should not be losing that goal from there. You know, Kasper Schmeichel's a very good goalkeeper. We know how good he is, but he just looks a little bit off the ball recently. His kicking as well was pretty dodgy yesterday, but I don't think it's just Schmeichel that needs to be dropped. You can look through that pretty much whole Celtic team. I don't think Callum McGregor looks anywhere near the player he has been recently. And of course, he's getting older like we all are, but he looks miles off it. It's funny because I was listening to something earlier on and they were talking about Celtic and Rangers, and they basically said that if you stop their left wingers, you stop both those teams. So for Celtic, if you stop Tunecki, you stop Celtic. If you play Rangers, you stop Gassama, you stop Rangers, because that's all the threat they've got. They don't look like they're going to score a lot of goals this season. Look at the game last week against Tips.
See, that's what I was saying to you earlier, Graham, because I mean, can you imagine if Falkland go and beat Rangers and Motherwell get a draw against Celtic? I mean, that's you 12 points ahead of Rangers and 5 points ahead of Celtic. You must start to dream because Celtic don't look as if they can score, and Rangers look an absolute basket a basket case of a club.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of people look at the standard of Scottish football and say, has it got worse? And they always say that when Celtic and Rangers are not doing well, but I think you've got to look at other teams. I think the likes of Hibs have strengthened really well, Motherwell strengthened well, St Mirren strengthened well, Kilmarnock strengthened well. I think other teams have actually improved as well this season. Yes, of course, Celtic and Rangers are not at the form they should be, but I think too many times it's all about Celtic and Rangers and the drop-off of them rather than looking at other teams. Like Hearts, for me, obviously have strengthened really well. And we've been, so far, okay. But you do know that at some point Celtic are going to get better. At some point they will click and they will start to score goals. But they don't look anywhere near it just now.
Robbie, let's talk about Rangers, because I seen on TikTok this morning that Fairwell and a Rangers supporter were arguing in Stone Graz last night at the hotel. I mean, do you see it ending for Russell Martin anytime soon, or do you think he's hanging on a little bit?
honestly, I don't know. I honestly thought he'd be sacked by now. I'm stunned that he is still in a managerial job, to be honest. Rangers were terrible that first half last night. Really, really bad to watch. Gassama obviously getting the goal. I thought the goalkeeper could have done better, in my opinion, to be honest. But again, it's another uninspiring performance. Rangers travel away to Falkirk. I don't know how that's going to go, but should Russell Martin still be in the job? I don't think he should be anywhere near it. I mean, I've spoke to him, I know millions of Rangers fans, and they use words that probably can't be repeated on here to sum up Russell Martin so far. But I just don't get what the board are saying. That's for me, guys, the biggest. Why is he still in a job? How are the board looking at this situation and finding any sort of positive out of it? I really can't see any.
Yeah, Graham, I said to Robbie just before we came on air, I just find it weird that Rangers, they go away and get beat last night. But I think the even bigger story for Rangers is that the Rangers fans are not happy with Russell Martin and Farewell. And then Russell Martin and Farewell, they go ahead and appoint Farewell's son to be in charge of the Rangers scouting and transfer policy.
I'm sorry, but how funny is that? Just appointing your son to the job. That's a great role, that. Honestly, it's a shambles, an absolute shambles. I mean, 5 wins and 16 so far. They've conceded 22 goals. Defensively, an absolute... The goals that they lost last night, oh my word. You wouldn't say that at schoolboy level. Just honestly embarrassing how bad they are. And again, you look at the fact that if it's not for Jack Butland yet again, it could have been worse. Yes, Rangers do get back in the game second half, but I think that was in spite of Russell Martin. I think the Rangers players just thought, do you know what, sod it, let's just go for it, and they did. But they left themselves off at the back. But if it's not for Jack Butland, they could have been miles. They could have been ripped apart again yesterday. They are so poor defensively. But Russell Martin's just, as soon as he came in, Rangers fans were not happy because his record at Swansea, Southampton, MK Dons. At what point did that board think this is the right man? And what stuns me even more, and I spoke to a couple of journalists about this, Russell Martin had 7 interviews for that job. 7 interviews. And he got the job. I mean, seriously, that is ridiculous. How has he got that job?
I'm sorry, Graham. I mean, I'm lucky if I get 1 interview for a job, and he gets 7.
Mm-hmm. They must be related to Farewell's sister or something like that, so he's managed to snag out 7 interviews. But I don't get it yet, Graham. You were talking about the set piece defending. I mean, is Farewell appointed his hamster as the set piece coach? I mean, it's bad. It seems like a club. They didn't just complete disconnect. I really don't get it, Graham. We're talking, and you said a minute ago, Celtic, they'll inevitably get better. They will. I might be slightly. This might be a big shout for me. Rangers don't look like they're going to get better. I was so confident Rangers are finishing top 3 this season. I was that confident that it will click for Rangers because I don't see any clicks.
Robbie, see if they get rid of Russell Martin. I've heard this from friends of mine, and that they go, "Oh, but Rangers have got a lot of good players." But are you convinced that they've got a lot of good players? Because I'm certainly not convinced.
If they get rid of Russell Martin, I can see them improving. I think there's players in there of quality. There is Nico Raskin, he's a good player. Deji Kitsama, he's a good player. They have got players in there, but if they keep Russell Martin in that job any longer, which I don't see them doing, because I don't know how the board can look at that and be happy.
Sorry, Robert,
No, I was just going to say, if they did keep him in, I don't see why this improves. Are you even talking about a top 2 Rangers? Are you even talking about a top 3 Rangers at that point? Because they just look. I'm looking down the list, right, and fair enough, they can go to Livingston and pick up 3 points. I'm sure they might go to Falkirk and win it a weekend. But there's some away games in that calendar, even home games, that I look at and think there's absolutely no way Rangers are getting anything out of that game.
They spent £8 million on Trimiti, who hasn't scored a single goal in his career, because Kevin Thirlwell saw him at Everton and thought, he'll do. I mean, seriously, it's like a jobs for the boys there. At what point do you start to think this ain't going to work? I mean, Rangers fans are fuming, and I think rightly so, because Russell Martin is not the right man for that job. He spends half the time going like that to make sure his hair's all nice and puffy. That's all he does. He's a horrendous manager. And I think as well, managers as well, I think you have to be held accountable at times. See if things are not going well. See if you actually say, do you know what, that's my fault. I don't think I've heard Russell Martin once yet say, this is on me. He blames the team. He blames the mentality. How many times has he talked about players being anxious and about mentality? Well, whose fault's that? Yours. You picked the team. You apparently coached them. This is on Russell Martin. Nobody else.
Aye, Graham, I'm interested to hear who you want. Well, not who you want, you're not a Rangers fan, but who you think might be the next Rangers manager if Russell Martin inevitably does go. There's been a lot of talk about Gerrard, Sean Dyche, getting flung in, Stephen Robinson. Who do you think Rangers might go for?
I mean, yeah, Steven Gerrard won the title, but I don't think they were a particularly great team back then. Sean Dyche, is he really going to come to Scotland? I don't think so, and it's not going to be great football. I think it's a really tough one. I mean, I think I said to you the last time when I was on this in the chat, I'd be slightly concerned that Robinson might be approached. Now, I don't think he'll go, but it must be a slight concern that Stephen Robinson might be approached for that job, because if Rangers want to go down a route of someone that's managed in Scotland, knows what he's doing, Robinson's the ideal candidate, because they ain't going to get Derek McInnes. So it really just leaves Stephen Robinson. But I don't think he'd take it.
Aye, the more people say that, the more the Rangers knocks it on the League Cup final, make them win it under Robinson comes true. I hope no, but there's just no optimistic candidates in my opinion, Graham. I was looking last time on the show as well at the list of managers and potentials. Nobody's inspiring on the list at all. Gareth Southgate's getting touted for the job. Nuno would never take it, even though he's on the list. Kevin Muscat's name's ringing a bell back on the list as well. There's just so many names that if I'm a Rangers fan, I'm just feeling so uninspired this season.
Well, Nuno's just got the West Ham job, so he's not going to go there. But, I mean, apart from that, it's not a great list. And I think the problem that I think Rangers fans have got is I don't think Kevin Thirlwell on the board will sack him, because if they do that, they have to admit they made a mistake. And they won't do that. Given the fact, like I said, they spent £8 million on Chermiti, and the fact that Kevin Thirlwell's appointed his son. I mean, seriously. At what other club would you have that? Where you just appoint your son to the board? It's a really, really poor Rangers team. I think apart from Gassama and Butland, it's a really poor Rangers team. I mean, they might go to Falkirk and win, but again, it'll be one step forward, two steps back, because they'll probably go to Falkirk and win and then lose next week. Rangers don't look like a team that's going to go on a run of victories, convincing victories. They're conceding pretty much every game. Like, honestly, defensively, they are so poor. John Souttar looks a shadow of the player he has been. I thought he was awful again yesterday. They're not a good side, and it all comes down to Russell Martin. He's not a good manager, and I don't know why. I think it's a 31% win record he had in all these clubs. At what point do you start to think, maybe that wasn't the right idea? He's just an awful manager.
I think he's probably blagged his way about through four or five of the interviews. I mean, the fact that man's ended up with a Rangers job is baffling. But your sort of point's interesting. You know, we watched him last for Scotland game and he kept 2 clean sheets in 2 games. No, you're probably going to watch him for Scotland and he'll probably do well again. I mean, for me, Graham, that just sums up Russell Martin. That is, you know, it's no Souttar's fault that he's playing bad. Obviously, he still needs to go out there and put in a good performance, but he's not suited to that type of tactic. But when he goes to Scotland, you know, you can watch him have 2 good games. So I think that sort of sums up Martin.
Yeah, and I don't think it helps. I don't think Giga's been particularly great beside him. I think he looks like a bomb scare, to be honest. But John Souttar just doesn't look anywhere near the level he should be. And again, I think it all comes down to Russell Martin's tactics and coaching. I mean, what does he do every day in training? Because it doesn't look like it's coming off. I mean, I said this when Hearts beat Rangers a few weeks ago. I can't remember a time I've ever gone to Ibrox and felt that comfortable playing against Rangers. Usually we get hammered there, but we were so comfortable. Like Dundee went there and got a point. Celtic, okay, it wasn't a great game, but teams don't fear playing Rangers now. It used to be a case of when you play Rangers and Celtic, it's a real worry. I don't get that with Rangers now. And if you're Falkirk, you must be licking your lips at the start on Sunday taking that Rangers team on. Because especially at a difficult ground to go to, Falkirk is not going to be easy. Hibs went there and drew 2-2. If I'm Falkirk, I'm looking at this thinking, we can get at them. And they've got players that can cause them problems as well. So this will not be easy for Rangers at all.
Aye, before we move on to talk about the Falkirk game, Graham, I want to get your thoughts on the Aberdeen game. Another loss. They've finally scored 2 goals in a game. Aberdeen fans must be delighted, but I don't think, for me, Graham, I don't think this overshadows anything that's going on at Aberdeen. That's another loss under Jimmy Tilleen. They don't look like, you can say the positives are scoring goals, but when they're gone 3-1 down the fashion that they are, and I've seen some of the goals, they look uninspiring as well.
Yeah, I actually thought they had the harder game of the 3 Scottish teams last night, and I thought they competed a lot better than they had done recently. When they get the opening goal from Carlos and decent penalty, you think, right, maybe they've got something here, but then Shakhtar just showed their quality. I mean, Shakhtar have not lost a game in all competitions since January when they got beat by Dortmund. They're a good side. They were a Champions League side. I wasn't expecting much from Aberdeen, but I think they do deserve credit for coming back and actually showing a bit of fighting character. But yeah, you are right, it's another defeat. I think Aberdeen fans left the game yesterday thinking, well, it's a lot better than what it could have been. But they've got to start winning games domestically. European football, it can be very different. It can be a different atmosphere. And Pataudry was bouncer last night. But they did show a bit more fight and attitude yesterday. But they've got to start winning domestically, because right now, I mean, they're in serious trouble. It's only 6 games. It's a long way to go. But if they lose again at the weekend, I mean, seriously, where do you go from there?
Against Stephen Presley's Dundee as well, when Aberdeen have not scored a goal in the league. So, that's written for 1-0 Dundee at the weekend. But it's got to be a game that surely they look at and go, right, if we're going to score in the league, which they've not yet done, and they're going to get 3 points, it's got to be in that game. I mean, I don't think there's a better opportunity for Aberdeen to pick up 3 points.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I've said previously, start the season, my tip for going down with Dundee, I'm still going to stick by that. But if you're Aberdeen, this is a game you have to be winning. Dundee, I don't think have looked particularly great. They've had some decent moments, but they don't look fantastic so far. And I don't think Presley good appointment at all. I've said that before. I make no bones about that. I think it's a poor appointment. But if you're Aberdeen, you've got to win that game. You're at home, big opportunity to get 3 points on the board and finally score a few goals. But yeah, this is a big game for Aberdeen. If they don't win that, then there's going to be serious concerns.
So let's move on to Falkirk versus Rangers, guys. What are you guys thinking for this match?
I'm expecting to hear Wakefield at least 3 times during the match because Scotty Arfield's going to bag a hat-trick. You know what? Something tells me he will score at the weekend against Rangers. So I don't know. I just have that feeling that Scott Arfield's going to get one. But look, we know how Falkirk are going to go into this under John McGlynn. They're going to show no threat and no fear. Sorry, they never do in these games. We're going to go at Rangers, try and exploit their weaknesses. We know where they are. The attacking players, I don't know, maybe Agyman starts at the weekend. I know he maybe could cause some threat to Rangers going forward. So I think we know how Rangers, how Falkirk are going to set up. It's how Rangers play and how they set up, to be honest with you. Will sort of depend on if they can go and get the 3 points or no, because, there's going to be a big crowd at Falkirk. I'm not sure what the seating arrangement is, how many tickets Rangers are getting, to be honest, but I do reckon the Falkirk end will be rotten for the start. So, Rangers will have another tough task.
Aye, Robbie, I think you're spot on because Falkirk are really still at the crowd. I think they get about 7 or 8,000, I think, most games now.
No, they definitely, they sell it well. But it's going to be tough to call this game. As Falkirk, we know their strengths. We know Rangers' strengths and weaknesses as well. In my opinion, it could honestly go either way. I think the game's going to come down to what Rangers team show up. I think, in my opinion, if Rangers show up poorly and slack for the start, I think Falkirk can take advantage of that. But if they show up well and bounce back for Europe, then they could go and win that game.
Yeah, and obviously, do you think this is do or die for Russell Martin, or do you think he could survive it? I mean, how long does it go on? I mean, do you guys feel like that the potential last 2 results after last night buy them a bit of time, or do you think still?
I agree. I'll let you answer that.
It doesn't seem to matter how bad Rangers are. they just won't sack Russell Martin. Because if they're going to do it, they'd have done it weeks ago. I don't think it'll matter what happens on Sunday. If they get beat, I think they'll still keep him. They've backed him in the transfer market. I don't think they'll sack him. But I think this game is massive for Rangers. They have to win it. Whether they win it comfortably, I don't think so. Falkirk, Hearts were the far better side last week. I thought Falkirk started okay. But Falkirk will have a threat. And like I just said to Robbie there, I think Falkirk will be looking forward to this game. Taking a Rangers side that are vulnerable, you'd imagine Rangers will make changes. Polomyovsky coming back in, whether they start. I mean, Mikey Moore's not been great so far, whether he starts. But I would not be surprised if this game finishes a draw and Russell Martin still keeps his job, because they won't sack him.
Do you guys feel like maybe the Russell Martin thing is a little bit overboard? Because I've never seen so much hatred for a manager in my life, honestly.
It's no overboard at all. It's for me, for the Rangers fans, it's completely justified. The Rangers, in the current position they are in, should not be doing this bad. It doesn't matter who's in charge. You should not be this low on the table. You shouldn't be this low in confidence. I mean, Graham mentioned Chamiti earlier. His miss last night was absolutely baffling. It's Ivan Bojan and the team sheet comes out on Saturday or Sunday, whenever the game is, and he's no starting up front. I'd be holding my transfer request tomorrow. He leaves the club, man. I'd seriously wonder if I was Miovski, why am I not starting there? Chamiti? He is, for me, the miles better striker in every department. So, look, we'll need to see, but it's no overboard for me, Reagan. I think it's completely justified.
That Livingston game last week, I don't recall a time when I've ever heard a fan base 5 seconds after they won a game talking about the manager and get him out. That was absolutely mental last week. They hate him. They absolutely hate him.
Okay, then to put it a different way, then do you feel like if do you think there's any chance that Russell Martin will get it back? Because I just feel like maybe there's a little bit too much of it going on. I mean, I don't know if Russell Martin's playing to the gallery himself. He mentioned yesterday about maybe children doing gestures and stuff like that. I don't know if he's just playing to the gallery for that. But do you guys feel there's any way he could potentially turn it around, or do you think Rangers fans are just not having him whatsoever?
Well, I mean, if it wins a quadruple this season, then I'll turn that around. But no, I don't see it, to be honest.
There is more chance of Margot Robbie turning up at my door than Russell Martin turning this around.
I think if Russell Martin turns up at your door, I think your wife will be kicking you right out the door.
Do you guys think? I still think, and you guys might feel differently, if Rangers won the League Cup in December, I still don't think things would change. I mean, was it not Philippe Clement won the League Cup or the Scottish Cup, and things didn't change for him? So I think even Reagan, if they win this trophy, I still don't think it changes anything, to be honest.
I think it's too far gone. Rangers fans want him out. I think it's too far gone. It doesn't matter what he does. I think it is far too far gone.
I mean, see for me, guys, I think the thing for Russell Martin is I think he's a decent manager, but I think the problem for him is he's not managing a team of the size of Rangers, and no disrespect to people like Ange Postecoglou, but if you look at Ange Postecoglou managed big clubs. Like Brisbane Roar are a big club in Australia, and I'm not comparing that to Russell Martin, but I'm just meaning, like, if you look at Russell Martin, he's managed Swansea, Southampton, MK Dons. I mean, if Southampton finish 7th in the league, and then they almost make the playoffs, the players go, okay, that's not too bad. If Rangers draw against Aberdeen, the Rangers fans are going crazy.
I don't think he's to be honest with you, I think he's a decent manager for Auckland like Talbot. I mean, I don't think this guy shows any quality. Like, that might be me being too harsh, but I'm looking at his win percentage and the amount of goals he's shitting at each of his clubs. I think Graham spoke about it earlier. I mean, the man's defensive record is absolutely horrific for a football manager. I mean, it's really, really bad. I don't think he's had above, a 38% win percentage at any of these clubs that he's managed. That's not good enough for the size of Rangers or even Southampton, to be honest with you.
I think the only reason that I think Martin got that job is because he managed in the Premiership. That's all. Because he's not got a CV that says Rangers manager. He's an awful manager. And I said it to Robbie earlier. You listen to managers, and some managers, if things don't go well, they take accountability. Never once have I heard Russell Martin say, this is on me. He blames mentality. He doesn't blame the tactics. He throws players under the bus. Look at what he did with Nico Raskin. He's done it more than once. He's not a manager. I don't understand how he's got that job. And the only thing I can think of is because he managed in the Premiership.
Ryan makes a really good point there, by the way. For a defender in his playing career, he's really bad at setting up his team to defend, man. Like, really, really bad at it. I mean, I think Falkirk will score goals at the weekend a day. I can't see Rangers keeping a clean sheet. So it's all about how many Rangers can score, off the back of that.
Yeah,
I think Rangers have kept 3 clean sheets this season against Victoria Pills and Celtic and Hibs. That's it. Even Alloa scored twice.
I'm interested, guys. Right? Do you guys feel like maybe the way that Falkirk and Rangers both play actually suits both teams here? Because you look at the Rangers game against Motherwell, the Rangers game against Motherwell, Motherwell played a kind of high press, high intensity, and I expect the same kind of match from Falkirk.
I said, though, see if you played that Motherwell fixture at the weekend, I'd be backing all my money on Motherwell to beat Rangers, to be honest with you. I don't think there'd be any arguments about that. But you're right. It is, I think it'll be a very evenly matched game, but I'm just looking at Rangers and I don't see a world in which they can keep a clean sheet in this game. I mean, right enough, some of the teams that they have kept a clean sheet against, as Graham mentioned, there's a pretty impressive list if you look at things. Obviously, it's not impressive for Rangers, but overall, you wouldn't be mad to keep my clean sheet against Celtic or Victoria Pilsen, would you? So, I don't know. I just don't fancy Rangers at all at the weekend. I genuinely never fancy Rangers going into a game right now, and I think that says it all for Russell Martin.
If Falkirk stop Gassama, they've got a big chance because he's their only threat.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that there, guys. Who's going to be the key threats for both teams?
As Graham said there, Gassama for Rangers will be the big threat for them. Once again, I think if Bojan Majowski plays, he can be a threat as well. I think he's a really good striker. On the Falkirk side, I actually think Falkirk are quite a well-balanced team, and I love nothing more though than to see that team line up and see Scott Arfield starting through the middle. I think that would make me smile a wee bit because if he starts, I genuinely think he will score, and I think he will be a big threat against Rangers at the weekend. And I'd love to hear Wakefield more than once, so that would be good as well. Graham, what about you? What threats you think for the game?
I think you mentioned him there. If he starts, I think Adjaman. I think he actually played last week against Hearts, came off the bench, and actually looked decent when he came off. But yeah, I mean, I think, listen, if Arfield plays, he'll be desperate to do well against Rangers, and you would not back against him scoring.
Surely, but it would have been interesting, Regan, to get the thoughts of Alan, who's been on the show a few times. But also, a big Falkirk fan, see what he's thinking for the game. Yeah,
I mean, Alan's a great guy, and he'll be going there tomorrow, hoping that Falkirk do the job. I think it's interesting. Do you think Brian Graham might play on Sunday? Because I like the other players I like for Falkirk is Brad Spence and is it Ross as well? I quite like those players, guys.
Aye, I know Ryan made that point in the comments about Brian Graham. He can't play in my opinion. I don't think he can play a full Premiership match, so I think we'll probably see him either start and then come on off the bench. But I think he has a bit of experience into the Falkirk team. You're right that there is players in the Falkirk team. Dylan Tate's another one. I think he's a good player. You mentioned Spencer. Miller's another good player as well. I remember against us, I think it was, I can't remember if it was McCann left back, I think it was. I think he had a pretty decent game as well. So, Falkirk, in my opinion, have a really well balanced squad. They've got a squad full of options as well off the bench. Obviously, Adjuman's probably the biggest threat, in my opinion, off the bench. Obviously, Harfield, I think, has been on the bench the last couple of games. So, it'll be interesting to see their lineup, but I don't think there's any reason why Falkirk should be fearful. Rangers are a bit scared. They should just go at them, and they can cause them problems. Again, as Graham said, if you stop Gassama, you've got a really, really big chance.
Yeah, and I think John McGlynn, Graham, he's somebody that played a great brand of football.
Yeah, and to be fair, he did try and do that last week, but Hearts just really stifled him. But he does go into every game trying to win, and I think he'll do the same thing on Sunday. They won't hold any fear at home. They'll have a decent crowd behind them, and I think you look at that Rangers team and you can get at them. They are very vulnerable. You can get at them. So I think McGlynn will set up to have a goal, and they've got a very, very good chance. It's like I said earlier, nobody's feared the Rangers just now. Like, when was the last time you ever thought that Rangers go to Falkirk and think, ooh, Rangers might actually lose this game? Normally you think Rangers will win this game comfortably, but now you're not, because nobody's scared of them anymore.
Yeah, I've got to say as well, guys, another good thing, if you're going along to Falkirk, if you're a Falkirk fan or you're a general Scottish football fan or you're a Rangers fan going along on Sunday, the pies are lovely. The chicken pies are lovely over there. So please make sure you buy a pie. The pies are lovely.
I love it.
So
what about your predictions?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to go Falkirk 2, Rangers 1.
I'll go Falkirk 2, Rangers 0.
Oh,
I'm going to go for a draw, 1-1.
I'm going to ask Robbie a question on the back of the 2-0 prediction. Then Robbie, see, in terms of that, then you said 2-0 to Falkirk. Do you feel like Rangers have got almost 2 weeks to replace the manager during the international break with the Scotland games? Do you think they'll make a change then?
I mean, I said after the first international break, if they were going to sack him, if things didn't get better, it would be this international break. I think I'll still stick by that. So I'll answer your question, yes. I do think they'll replace him, but do I actually think they will? No, I don't. I don't think the board are living in that mentality right now where they want to replace the manager even when they're getting confronted after fans in hotels. I still don't think it's going to change their mind, to be honest with you. I think they're just, as Graham said earlier, they're so resilient to give up. They're so resilient to say, look, we made a mistake here on Russell Martin. I just don't think they're that type of people yet. So for me, as much as I'll say I genuinely don't think they will change him, to be honest.
What other family member can Kevin Thurwell appoint if they sack Russell Martin? He's grand.
He can appoint his mum. Because Russell Martin's appointed his mum after the matches. Yeah, I just think it's a bit of a shame, but hopefully, from Russell Martin's point of view, he can bounce back soon. Because I bet he is a decent guy to be around, but it's just not working at Rangers.
Oh no, I'm sure Russell Martin's a lovely guy, but at the end of the day, he's trying to manage a football team. He's not doing it very well, so it's got to get to a point where you've just got to. Yeah, exactly. I don't think any Rangers fan at their doubts he's a nice guy, and he probably really is. He's probably a really motivational guy as well, but it's just no clicking at Rangers, is it? I mean, there's got to be a time where you've just got to sack him. You do, and it should have happened by now. The fact is, no, I think makes the Rangers fans even more angry, and it will just continue to anger them as they drop points. And by the way, can I just say, sorry, Graham,
I'm doing adverts for shampoo and conditioner shortly.
But we're forgetting that the longer the repercussions of this are really, really big. The longer Russell Martin's still in a job, the more Rangers are dropping points. The further behind they are for Celtic. I mean, this isn't just into the matter. This is into the league status as well. Rangers are in a legitimate fight here to try and get back up the league.
Yeah, I'm enjoying one of the comments here, but I don't know if you bring it up.
I've just seen it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be interesting, but I genuinely think it'll be 2-1 to Falkirk on Sunday. But the next match, we should probably go into Robbie's team, their third place on the table. St Mirren, they're going down to Rugby Park tomorrow, Robbie.
Maybe if the game goes ahead. I was telling you before the show started, there's a couple of boys down at Kilmarnock that seem to think the game might get called after tomorrow, which obviously I hope doesn't happen. I obviously hope the game goes ahead, but I'm excited for it, Regan. Hearing third place in the table gave me a wee smile there. Quite enjoyed hearing that, and like it's gonna be a different game for the cup game, not just with the pitch condition, because I'm sure the storm will probably play a big effect in it as well, but for different reasons. I mean, they will be out for revenge. Kilmarnock, they will put it on to making sure they beat us in this game, because they will be really annoyed that we stopped them from getting a trip to Hampden. But there's no reason why we shouldn't go here and go and try and win the game. We're very well set up under Robinson. Just picked up a 1-0 win over Dundee, another clean sheet, made that pretty comfortable in my opinion. And going away to Kilmarnock again, I just don't fear them, to be honest with you. The front players actually really disappointed me the last time I watched them. Dackers and Daniels, I don't think any of them were a big threat to us, to be honest. I think the midfield and wide players are more likely to be a big threat in this game. Set pieces will be another big factor, I think, in my opinion, based off the last time when it really knocked down in the set piece defending. But again, Regan, we've got this mindset in us now for Stephen Robinson where I just don't fear going away to any of these grounds. And why should we? We should look to go here and get 3 points. Why not? We've got a run of fixtures in October where we play Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, Dundee United and Hearts. And I'm we should be looking to pick up points in all the games. And obviously Graham might disagree with the last one on that list, but with the way Stephen Robinson's got to set up, we should be looking to go and get points at all these games, and it should be no different tomorrow as well.
I think that's a great point that Robbie makes there, Graham. I mean, I think the whole mentality for a team like St Mirren to go in there and go, right, every game we go into, we think that we've got a genuine belief that we can win the game.
And why not? They're sitting third for a reason. They're a good side. They're a solid side. They look really threatening going forward. They've got Alec Gogic, who turns into prime Baresi against Hearts every time he plays against us. But yeah, they've got a very good side. And I think, that cup game, I didn't actually manage to watch it, but I kind of said it was going to go penalties. It probably will be a different game. Kilmarnock will be looking to get revenge on that. But you just look at that St Mirren side, and they do look a really, really strong side this season. There is no reason that St Mirren should not be up there again this season. And I think, Kilmarnock, they've done okay under Kettlewell so far. But I just think St Mirren will go there full of confidence, and rightly so. They're a good side.
Robbie, what do you make at this point? Third deserves to lose.
It's funny, me and Ryan discussed this on the podcast, and I disagree. I don't think third is ours to lose yet. I think it's very early in the season. I think us with third's almost the same boat as Hearts for the league. There's still 32 games to be played. We're in a very good position, and I think we've definitely got the squad of players to go and get third. I think third's ours to lose. I wouldn't say that. I'd probably say we can be challenging up in third. I definitely think we should be in top six. I think by the end of the season we will be. It's whether we can go any higher than that, and I hope we do. I mean, look, obviously the big talk of the last couple of weeks has obviously been the semi-final, and that's still very slowly approaching in the calendar. But looking at these league games, I'm looking and I don't have a single fear factor. The players are so good. We missed O'Hara and Bacchus and Marcus Fraser against Dundee and still looked very, very comfortable. I think that says the recruitment that's been spot on for Robinson as well. He looked that comfortable, missing your captain and vice captain in a team's absolutely incredible. So it does just show the great work and the great mentality that group of players has. And I go to Rugby Park tomorrow, and I'm feeling confident we can go and pick up 3 points again.
Yeah, Robbie. I mean, apart from Storm, Amy, what's your prediction for this game?
Just one note as well. I genuinely think Killian Phillips will be sold for a lot of money. I think that boy is destined for bigger things, and I don't say that often about players because you never really know, but you can see it right through that boy. I mean, I think he could play any other team in this league, to be honest with you. That's how good he is in my opinion. But for score prediction, I think I'm going to change up for what I said about today, and I think I'm going to go 2-1 to St Mirren.
Oh. And you agree on what you're thinking for this one?
1-0 St Mirren.
1-0 St Mirren. I'm going to go 3-1 to St Mirren.
I like this. Usually when it's Ethan and Alex on the show, they always back the other team to win. So I'm glad we've got a group of people that back us.
I think Kilmarnock will score, but I think St Mirren will just be too strong.
I mean, to be honest, given Ryan's comment in the chat, I actually should go for Kilmarnock to win just for his cheek.
I was going to ask you on that point. Do you actually agree with Ryan here, or you disagree?
Well, we won in the cup. We won in the cup game last season on penalty, so we turned up last season.
Aye, but you didn't turn up in 2013, but did you?
Oh, stop it, you! that wasn't it, Pedro. That was.
What was it called again? Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's nephew, wasn't it? He was what's it called again? He played for St Mirren. Did you know score in the final? Or was that Ismail Gonçalves?
Ismail Gonçalves, aye. But no, I mean, Graham, but I think obviously earlier in the season, I mean, look, penalties can go either way. Last season it went your way. This season it fortunately went our way. But when we go to play at home again, I'm under no illusions. It's going to be a really difficult game. I think the league game will be different. I think Hearts, look, they'll obviously bring a good attendance. Obviously, it's a game we discussed near the time. We'll need to see how the form's looking on both teams. We'll see if Hearts have kept up their winning streak. But I do always fancy my chances against Hearts at home. I don't know why, but I suppose I fancy my chances against any of the other 11 teams at home, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll move on now to Aberdeen against Dundee. Guys, what do you think for this one?
No, move on. No, it's got the makings to be a really bad game of football, but honest, I don't think the Storm will help it up north either. It's as simple as Aberdeen to score and win. I really don't think it can be put any better than that. No scored in the league yet, obviously coming off, as Graham pointed out earlier, probably a bit of an optimistic performance against Shakhtar, who are, as Graham rightly pointed out, a Champions League team. You're coming up against a Dundee side that, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if Simon Murray's going to be back. I think Jan Dander's now unsuspended. I think he's served his suspension, so I think he'll be back. But it's a side that don't enlighten me in attack. I don't feel like they're ever going to score at any point in the match. And if they can somehow go to Pittodrie and nick a 1-0 win, then I think that for me, and I don't know if you agree, guys, but it's going to be the end for Jimmy Tillin, I think.
Yeah, but I think the Aberdeen board are sticking by Jimmy. But I think it should be see you, Jimmy. Because I think you said the start last week, Robbie. I think it's 4 wins in 29 games or something like that you said.
It's like 5 wins in 33, 34 matches or something like that. I mean, that's a terrible record, and no matter if you win the cup in the middle of that or no, at this point, I'm not saying completely put the cup behind you, because it's the best moment Aberdeen fans have had in years. But at what point do you move on for that and look to the now? And the now is Aberdeen have not scored a goal in the league and are sitting rock bottom. I mean, to me, in a season where all the media headlines have been about Rangers being bad, Aberdeen have been arguably worse.
See, in terms of the problem, guys, what do you think the problem is? Think it's the players, the manager, the system, or do you think because I think they've scouted some very good players.
Yeah, but in between that, they've signed Yengi, who is one of the worst players I've ever seen in my life. Who told that boy he could play football? I don't know if you're probably guys are too young for this, but I remember years and years ago when Southampton signed a guy called Ali Dia, who was apparently the cousin of George Weah. He was awful. This guy reminds me of that. He is a dreadful, dreadful footballer.
Graham, you've got right. Let's say Hearts are in a crisis, right? You need to sign a striker. You've got 2 options: Chamite or Yengi. Who you picking? Sander Clark. Stick him up.
Sander Clark up front than those two. They are just dreadful. Seriously.
Yeah, I think this point's a great point, because I actually liked Papagay. I think he was a good player.
Look, Aberdeen have recruited well, but there is signings in there that are actually really good. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I would have took Carlson at my club, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of Aberdeen fans have said it looks maybe a bit lazy and looks like it doesn't want to be there. But I just wonder how much of that Graham's done to Tilleen. I'm really starting to question his mentality. I mean, I know, again, every single time you make an argument about Tilleen, it's all about to win the cup, but I'm looking past that and looking in the league form even into last season. I just don't think it's really been good enough bar that run that they had right at the start.
No, I mean, I think that run at the start was incredible, and they lost one game and just fell off a cliff and couldn't really get it back. I think, again, it's a bit like Rangers. They've strengthened. They've signed a lot of players in this window. They have backed him. Do they really want to sack him now? Because it's his players. It's a difficult one, but it's been a horrendous start. Like, nobody could have seen this coming. To not have scored a league goal this season is awful. And that game last week against Motherwell, I actually don't think they played that badly. But when you're down the bottom, these kind of things happen where a guy like Mitov makes such a bad mistake. These kind of things happen. But like I said, they do have to take confidence in that game yesterday. They were slightly better than they have been. But I mean, has that cup win paper over some of the cracks? Potentially. But then you think about it and think, well, has that cup win given Jimmy Tilleen a lot more credit in the bank?
At what point though does the credit run out? I mean, zero, as you said, there's 0 league goals scored. If Aberdeen don't score against Dundee at the weekend and don't beat them, Tilleen should be sacked in the dressing room. I mean, it really should. It's bad if you're not beating Dundee at home, and that's not absolutely zero disrespect to Dundee or any of their players. But Aberdeen, as a football club, are playing in the Conference League. They're representing Scotland, and they're currently sat at the bottom of the league, scoring 0 goals in the league. So that they've, on an Aberdeen note, they've got to be beating Dundee at home. Well, no, I mean, I know Ryan says that point there about Simon, but I mean, the real game they fell apart was getting beat 6-0 at Hampden after Celtic. I mean, after that, they just completely went off the rails.
I mean,
I don't even think it's that. I think it was that 3-3 draw against Hibs.
Aye.
Yes, aye. I mean, Aberdeen's got some very good players, but they just don't seem to be gelling right now. I mean, I don't know who potentially you guys would pick to be the manager, but I think the obvious ones are kind of, well, before he left Dundee was Tony Docherty, but I don't think Aberdeen would choose him now. He's not doing too well up in the Highlands anyway. But I think, genuinely, guys, who is there anyone that stands out in terms of you think that Aberdeen could potentially look at?
Bring back Neil Warnock.
I heard he flung his hat in the ring for the Man United job, which I found quite interesting. But no, the obvious pick again, Stephen Robinson, and I don't like saying it.
Stop trying to sell your manager to different clubs.
I'm not trying. I'm just being realistic. If I'm an Aberdeen fan, I'm throwing money at Stephen Robinson to come to Aberdeen. I mean, I genuinely, that's how good he is, but I don't think they will go for him, I'll be honest. It depends on whether they sack Tilleen. I mean, Tilleen could turn it around for all we know. I think it's highly unlikely right now as things done, but I mean, he could turn it around. They've got Dundee, then St away, then AEK Athens, and Hibs. So if he goes and wins all their games, then, you know, he'll start building momentum back on track. But I think it's going to be difficult to turn it around. And if they don't beat Dundee at the weekend, I think that might just be the final nail in the coffin, in my opinion, to sack him.
I think that's a great
man. There's only one man that can put this round, and it's Craig Levine.
Why are we still picking about?
I mean, I've not heard Alistair this season. He's been very busy with his Scottish Supporters Association, but I know Robbie. He was a big fan of him as well.
We're all big fans of Craig Levine on this channel. That'll be someone's next manager watch us. But no, I like, you asked the question of who could replace Tilleen. I can't think of anybody else, but I don't want to fling Robert. For all I want Robinson to sign a lifetime contract where he never leaves St Mirren. But realistically, who else is there to replace Tilleen?
Let me have a think. Derek Adams. He loves Scottish football. He loves it up here. He thinks it's great.
He thinks the league's 100 times better than League One anyway. But no, I don't know. I really don't know.
See Robbie Fowler's thrown his name in the hat a few times at Aberdeen?
Who, sorry?
Robbie Fowler.
Robbie Fowler. I mean, that would be an interesting appointment. No, I don't know. I think we looked Reagan at the next manager list a few times, and it's just the same names floating about in there. But look, the one thing Aberdeen have in their favour is they've got the Conference League right now, and they're historically a big team, so you can attract a big manager naturally. There will be options out there. The Aberdeen recruitment team will know better than us. I don't, if they start looking, if they ever sack Tilleen, then of course they'll know more than us. They'll probably have some foreign managers that they can go and approach and see if they want to come. But it's a risky game. That didn't work. Well, I suppose it did work in terms of them winning a trophy, but it didn't work in the league. So the next appointment, Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen are second all finishing in the top four, finishing third. I think they're second all being right up there all the time. Whoever the next appointment is for Aberdeen needs to be spot on.
Graham, I read this stat during the week that see when Aberdeen do well, the Jambos do terrible, and when the Jambos are doing well, Aberdeen are doing terrible. I don't know if you've read the same stat as me.
Yeah, I was talking about this during the week. It's a weird one. It really is a weird one. And right now, it's exactly the same again. Aberdeen doing poorly, Hearts doing well. They never, it's like Hearts, Hibs and Aberdeen never have good seasons at the same time. And I think the league needs a strong Hearts, Hibs and Aberdeen, but it just doesn't happen. As long as Hearts are the better team, that's all that matters. But yeah, it's a really weird stat.
Right, Graham, I think I read these four out of you last time. I've got four managers here, right, on a list of potential next managerial contenders. I want to see what one you think would suit Aberdeen well. So you've got Stephen Robinson's the first name. You've got Kim Hellberg, who's the next name of Hammerby. You've got John McGlynn, a Falkirk, and you've got Michael Scubala. The four names.
I thought you were going to say Michael Stewart for a minute there. Do you know what? I don't want to take your manager away, but I'd be looking at Robinson.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, as much as I don't want it, it baffles me that no other club's gone, hang on a minute, this guy's done a really, really good job. Why don't we fling a bunch of money at him? It baffles me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I've been agreeing with all of Ryan's points, but I just don't see how Barry Ferguson joins Aberdeen, being a former Rangers captain. And in terms of Roman Aberdeen, I mean, I think he's the worst Premier League manager I've seen in a very long time.
Get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the road and get him in the Aberdeen hot seat.
Jimmy to Rangers, Russell Martin to Aberdeen. There you go. Simple swap.
Aye.
Who do you think would feel, what fan base do you think would feel worse with themselves?
Right, guys, so there's only one thing for us to do here, and that's for a prediction for Aberdeen versus Dundee.
I'm going funny. I'm going to go with a funny answer and go 1-0 Dundee.
I'm going to go Aberdeen 1, Dundee 1.
I'm going to go for Aberdeen to get their first league win and first league goals because I don't think Dundee had a good side. I'm going to go 2-0 Aberdeen.
Nah, you're boring.
I said 1-1. I said 1-1, Robbie. That'll make the Aberdeen fans boo at the end of the game.
At least they scored in that game, but how could you imagine the boos at Pittodrie if Dundee somehow win that game 1-0? I mean, it would be really, really. I don't think they'd have a choice. I think they'd need to sack him, to be honest.
They definitely would. I think the next game we'll move on to, guys, is the one at Tannadice. In terms of that game, guys, how do you see this one going? David Martindale, he got off to a pretty good match against Rangers, but I think Jim Goodwin will set up his team pretty well.
Aye, but they need to bounce back for a defeat to Kilmarnock. I don't think they really saw that coming, to be honest with you. I think that was a bit of a stunner when I seen that result coming in, but aye, they'll need to try and bounce back. I don't think Jim Goodwin. I think the one thing Goodwin's always credited himself on, which he's always been good at, is getting home results. I think he makes his team's tough to beat at home, and I think he's got a really good attacking threat as well. He'll need to sort it out for this game because Livingston. it's hard. I don't think I've watched Livingston enough, to be honest with you, to really judge how they've been back in the Premiership. I go to see them against Rangers when it's a bit of a different game. I thought they actually showed some decent intent going forward in the first sort of 15-20 minutes, and then late on in the game. But I just don't think I've seen enough to judge. I think this will all depend on how Dundee United play. I think Dundee United need to go and bounce back for that disappointment loss to Kilmarnock and really go at Livingston, try and get a few goals by them, because it's the last thing Goodwin will be wanting is to start picking up bad results as well.
Yeah, I mean, this comment really summed it up, to be honest. I mean, I think David Martindale's got them playing well, but I mean, that game up in Dundee, I mean, to lose the game 3-2 after being ahead, it's a bit of a big blow.
Aye.
Sorry, guys. I mean, I just feel like, in terms of David Martindale, I mean, do you guys see the expectation for David Martindale being this season surviving in the table, or do you see him try to push for top 6?
No, he'll be nowhere near top 6. I don't think him or Falkirk respectively will be near the top 6. I think both managers' objectives will be to stay up first season. I think that's always the objective, to be honest with you. For teams around about that area, as always, can you try and stay in the league? And it's going to be a real competitive bottom three, I think, in my opinion, towards the end of the season. I think there's maybe a couple of teams in there that can beat each other. I think we've already seen it, Dundee beating Livingston. That's always a big disappointment for Livingston. So there's going to be teams in there battling to stay up. I think it'll be a really good relegation battle this season. I think we were talking about TV deals and that earlier. I hope come the end of the season we're showing a bit more of the relegation script, because I think it will be a really close one this season.
Aye, and in terms of you, Graham, have you been impressed with the two teams so far this season?
United, yes, I think they play some decent stuff. I think Sapsford is a real good player, and so is Dolchek as well. They've got a lot of quality. Livingston, they've been a bit up and down. They've been a bit unfortunate to lose some last-minute goals. Lost that last-minute goal to Hearts, obviously lost last week. They're keeping themselves in games and giving themselves a chance, but I just don't think they've got enough quality going forward. Obviously they've got Macaulay Tate, who's on loan from Hearts, who's a very good player, but I just don't think they've got that real quality in the final third. I don't think they'll go down. I think they probably will stay up, but they are miles off top 6. Dundee United, they could potentially push for it, but again, I think if I'm looking at that game tomorrow, I would probably have to fancy United.
Aye, I agree. I think you'd fancy United at home, but I mean, again, after last week, I mean, who knows, Graham? I certainly didn't see that loss coming, to be honest. I know Kelly are a well put together team, but I thought, Jim Goodwin's men would handle business at home. So I agree with you. I do think you've got to fancy Dundee United, but you just never know in this league. I mean, Livingston could go red and win, and it's a different outlook all of a sudden. But I think you're right. I think Dundee United just have that bit more attacking edge, and I think that probably will ultimately win them the game. Sapsford, as you said, I think he's a really starting good player. I really like Lucas Stevenson. I've always been a big fan of him. So they've got players in there. I mean, Graham Ashley, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0 Dundee United.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. I think I'll go 2-2. Yeah, I just think because I like what I saw with David Martindale's team last week. I thought they were well organised. And I think they can score goals as well. I liked Smith. I think that was the first time I probably watched him for 90 minutes for a while, and I thought he was really good. I think Yengi, the brother at Livingston, I think he's a better player. I think he's a good player. And I think they've got players in there that can really do well. Graham Carey, who I predicted last week. I mean, he's a player that can score a free kick as well.
Aye, definitely. I'll go 1-0 Dundee United for my prediction. I think it'll be a tight game, and I think one goal nick it either way. I wouldn't have said that if we didn't have a Storm, to be honest with you. I think the Storm will probably be a big factor in some of these games as well.
Yeah, I think it will be, and Storm maybe she will play a part, but hopefully she's not causing too much hassle for the teams. I think the very last game of the weekend we should move on to, and that's Celtic at home to Motherwell. What do you guys think about that game?
I can't wait for this. You know what? I'm actually really excited to watch this game, and I'm only
Yeah.
excited. I think Jens is really sold me in his press conferences. The no fear factor I think Motherwell are going to show at Celtic Park will stun Celtic a bit, in my opinion. I think they will go there with full confidence they can go and get something for the game. I think it's a very well put together Motherwell team. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. I think they'll play to that. Reagan will obviously ask you in a minute about the protest and whether it's still going ahead tomorrow, but Sunday, sorry, but this game excites me. I think there could be goals in this for either team, to be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest, if you're ever going to go to Celtic Park in a time where it's not gone too well and go and pick up a result, I think Motherwell have got a really good shot.
I think Motherwell have got a great chance, Robbie. I totally agree with you because they play some good football. They've got some good players, and I'm not going to try and pronounce the striker, Papadopoulos, whatever he's called. But I think they've got some players in there that can really do well.
Aye, Graham, what about you? What do you think?
I have been really impressed with Motherwell. I think they've played some fantastic football so far. For a new manager to come in and play the style of football this early and get the best out of those players, I think they look a very, very good side. They look a threat going forward. It did take them a while to win their first game, but they're a big, big threat. And I think they are probably the last team Celtic want to be going to Celtic Park. I think it's going to be a very tough game because I don't think they're going to sit back. You know, as I said, I watched Hibs last week in the highlights and they kind of sat back and defended. I don't think Motherwell's going to do that. And they've got a threat on the break as well. So they're going to make this tough. This is going to be a very, very difficult game for Celtic.
Yeah, I agree. Robbie, you were talking about the protests there. The protests have been stopped for Sunday as well because the board have promised to the supporters that they're going to meet them on Monday night to speak about the lack of recruitment, the lack of investment in the club, and trying to spend more money in terms of trying to help the squad move forward.
All right, well, again, as I said earlier, I think that's probably a step in the right direction for Celtic fans. Obviously, we'll see how Monday goes and obviously come back on the show and speak about it, depending on what comes out about that. But Motherwell should fully go and fancy themselves. Kept 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games against Aberdeen. Looked decent in both of them, to be honest with you. The second one, I thought Aberdeen, as Graham said earlier, probably got quite unlucky, to be honest. But still, regardless, 2 really big results for Motherwell. They've obviously got themselves into a semi-final as well. They're sitting 4th in the league. I mean, if you're Jens, you are plastering it ere the was and plastering into players' minds. Go and show no fear against Celtic. Honestly, don't do what Hibs done, as Graham said there. Don't go and sit back and ride your luck. Go and take a game to Celtic. Why not? I think Celtic have a few weaknesses right now that Motherwell could potentially go and try and target. I mean, Reagan, I'm really interested to see who starts in the midfield. Obviously, Bernardo comes into the Celtic lineup for that game against Braga. I wonder what the midfield three is going to be for this game.
I think you'll play Rio Atati and Nigrin and who's the other one usually?
McGregor.
I think McGregor's played too often. I see him getting a lot of criticism on social media, like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. And I think some of it is justified, but you need to remember McGregor's played a lot of football as well. Now I want to get you guys' thoughts because I'm quite interested, right? See if you're in Manchester City, right? Are you not raging that you've sent a young player up and Simpson Pussy? You've sent him up to Scotland. You're thinking he's going to be up here. He's going to play a lot of matches, and he's leaving been on the bench. Brendan Rodgers played Dane Murray last night instead of a guy that is in the Manchester City squad. And I just think sometimes, okay, Brendan Rodgers, and everybody knows that Brendan Rodgers wasn't able to get the squad he wanted, but for him to pick Dane Murray over a guy who's played at Man City and played in a very big environment, I just think it's a wrong move for him.
I believe most of Simpson Pugh's appearances at Man City was in Europe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So I said that when he first came up. I thought he'd be the man to come in the European games and, to show that experience that he got. But he's just been nowhere to be seen so far at Celtic. It is a baffling one. Like, I don't think that's any criticism.
Why do you guys think constantly that the board bring these players in and Brendan Rodgers is not playing them? I'm not criticising Brendan here. So, if Brendan Rodgers, if you're watching the Scottish Football Zone right now, I'm not criticising you for not playing him. I'm just interested from Pussy's mental health or his state mentally in terms of what he must have surely sold the club to Stimson Pusey and said, "You're going to get minutes," and he's not even had one single minute.
Aye, I mean, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest. It's a tough question, but I think it's one that only really Simpson, Pusey and Celtic and Rodgers will really know, to be honest. So, I don't know. We'll need to see how it goes. I mean, we'll need to see if he gets in any of the other European games. I don't know if he will. Obviously, we'll just need to see how that goes. But it's definitely an interesting topic.
I mean, the interesting thing for me as well is Motherwell play the same kind of football as Celtic, so that might actually suit Celtic in terms of you look at Hibs last week. They played they apart 10 buses, as Michael would say. So I think in terms of what they're doing, I think Motherwell playing it from the back might actually suit Celtic.
Aye, but it might also, I don't know about yours, but it might also scare Celtic's defence. I mean, how many games does Celtic's defence really get proper pressure put on them? It's not many. I mean, the Celtic two centre-backs specifically are always quite comfortable in games. So, if you've got my Motherwell team running at you with a pretty good pressing system behind them, I mean, what will that do for the back two? I mean, we'll need to wait and see, but I think Motherwell should be confident getting the Celtic Park. Obviously, that's not me saying they should go there and expect to go and win. I mean, obviously, that's how the players and manager will be feeling, but it's still going to be a tough game regardless.
And I think as well, Graham, see, like in Motherwell, I think it just shows you how much Scottish football's progressed. I think you said it earlier in terms of like people are slagging Scottish football and saying like Rangers are crap, Celtic are crap, so the whole Scottish football is crap. And I don't believe that to genuinely to be the case.
No, absolutely not. I mean, like I said, a lot of teams are strengthened really well. I mean, obviously, I don't want this to happen, but if COVID could come along now and stop the league, I'd be quite delighted because but I know it's not going to happen. But I think there's a lot more excitement this season. I think a lot of teams are doing a lot better. The recruitment is so important. We know that, and a lot of teams have recruited very well.
I think to dispute your argument, Graham, I think that if the actual league wouldn't be stopped because of the amount of matches were played, the difference with the league being stopped was, I think there was 30 games played when that season get disrupted.
True, but let me just have this moment to think about potentially the league.
We don't want to. We don't want to go through another lockdown. Steven Gerrard coming back. But Steven Gerrard might win another during a lockdown.
Graham, I'm so surprised you still remember that season, considering how bad it was for Hearts.
Me as well.
It was horrific. I'm not going to lie.
It was no good. The fact that it was Obika as well that sent Hearts down, man, that summed up Hearts season, to be honest.
Poor Graham.
I know, I feel bad. I flung 2 digs at Hearts today.
Why did I come on this show?
I'll be fine. Seeing you win the league, you can rub it in my face all you want. But I'll go in first with my score prediction then. I'm going to go 1 each. I'll sit in the fence.
I'm going to go Celtic 2, Motherwell 1. But I want to... sorry, Graham, on you go for your prediction first before
I don't want to answer you now because the cheek I've given. I'm going to say 2-2.
2-2. I was just going to say, see in terms of Celtic don't look as if they can score right now. So see if Motherwell get another goal. I think this could get pretty toxic because see with Celtic teams of the past, you could actually see if Hearts went 1-0 up at Celtic Park, you'll still expect Celtic to come back and win. But the Celtic team is I think there's a I think there's a totally different vibe around this team.
Aye, Celtic Park will get incredibly toxic at the weekend if Motherwell score first. I mean, most times you're playing Celtic at Celtic Park, we're coming on here and backing Celtic to win very comfortably and no have much of a threat put against them. But I can honestly say, getting into this game, Motherwell shouldn't fear Celtic and should have a real good go, and I think it will be an interesting game.
Yep. So the next thing we're going to talk about, guys, is the Championship. A big thing for me, guys. I've been really impressed. I know he gets a lot of stick on Super Scoreboard and things like that over the past couple of years for his breaking time. But I think Matt Walton has done really well for Partick Thistle so far this season.
I think he's been fantastic. Graham, I was telling Reagan earlier, I'm actually going to Partick Thistle tomorrow to watch him against Arbroath if that game's to go ahead. So I'm quite excited to go and watch Thistle. I've not been to Thistle before. It'll be nice to see both teams sitting third and fourth in the Championship. It'll be nice to see both of them in action, and I think that just shows how good the Championship is. You're looking at the full fixture card for this weekend, and every game's a good one. And as you mentioned there, Mark Wilson took a lot of criticism when he got even hired for the job. Partick Thistle, I remember a lot of Thistle fans weren't too pleased and maybe didn't think that was the right guy to drive him forward, but he's been phenomenal so far, and he plays some really good stuff as well. Obviously, unfortunately, took a loss to Celtic, which is to be expected, but he bounced right back. I'm pretty sure they beat Queen's Park, I think, last. So, he'll be getting into this Arbroath game with full confidence. I think Arbroath will be travelling there thinking they can do something as well, and I think it'll be a really, really good game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Championship game this weekend, we'll get Airdrie against Morton, Dunfermline, Queen's Park, St Johnstone against Scott Brown's Ayr, and then Partick Thistle against Arbroath, which Robbie will be at. Robbie, I hope you'll be at your autograph pen, so if people see you at Firhill, they can get me autograph from you.
Well, like, I'll be the one with the autograph pen, realistically. Ryan Flynn running a bit inside Firhill, I'll be looking for his signature, but no, I can't wait to go to a new stadium, just go and experience a bit of different football.
Have you never been to Firhill, Robbie?
No, never been to Firhill, so I'm excited to go.
I'm saying it's a great wee stadium.
Aye, definitely looks a little bit excited to go in person. I think the biggest thing for me though is 0 VAR for 90 minutes. I honestly cannot wait to watch a game with it. It'll be brilliant. But I mean, doing the rest of the Championship class at Johnston Ayr is going to be another cracker as well. Scott Brown's turned that around a wee bit. At Ayr, they'll be looking to go and try and maybe have a wee shot, because it looks like St Johnstone have maybe just run away with the Championship a wee bit right now. Obviously, it's still early, but they look like they're clear favourites. So there's a lot of good goals, a lot of good games going on this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, what's the pick of the Championship games for you?
I would probably go St Johnstone against Ayr. Could be a good game. I mean, St Johnstone have been fantastic so far this season. Like, I always thought when he came in that Valakari, playing the style of football he's going to play, he just needed a bit longer. And in the Championship, he's going to get that. And I think they will come up quite comfortably now. But, yes, Ayr have turned it around. There's been a lot of talk about Scott Brown. Could he get a bigger job than United? Maybe. But I think I've been really disappointed with Ross County this season, though. I thought they were going to do a lot better, and they have been miles off it so far.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the league, St Johnstone are 6 points ahead of Partick Thistle, but Partick Thistle have got one game in hand, so they could reduce the gap to 3 points. Do you guys think St Johnstone are home and hosed, like Tam said off the ball last week? Do you guys see there being a proper challenge?
No, they're definitely no home and hosed yet. I think they're definitely favourites to win the league, and I think you'll struggle to see them dropping that many points anywhere else, to be honest with you. I think you're more likely to maybe see Thistle drop points places, which they've no proved that to be correct yet, to be fair, so I could be wrong. But no, I don't think they're home and hosting it per se, but I definitely think they're the outright favourites to win the league. And you're right, Ross County have surprised me. I do believe they've added a few more players to their squad this year, this last couple of weeks. I think they've made a couple of free transfers. I don't know the exact squad size, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty big number.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tony Duncan's a good manager, Graham, but it's just not worked out at Ross County so far.
No, and again, it's going to take time. He needs to figure out his best team, his best system. But I do think they probably will get better. But it's just been a disappointing start for them. I genuinely thought they'd be up there along with the likes of St Johnstone, Dunfermline, Partick Thistle, but they've just been nowhere near good enough so far. But I think they will turn it around under Rocky. He's a good manager. They will turn it, I think.
Callum
Yeah.
Davidson as well in the dugout.
Yeah, Michael's best pal, Callum Davidson. So I think it will be good to see those two kind of coaching duo, and hopefully they do well, because Tony Docherty, he always seems to get his backroom team well. Obviously, he was part of Derek's backroom team for a while as well. So I think he's obviously a quality coach. I think genuinely, guys, I think the Partick Thistle match for me tomorrow is going to be interesting, because I think I both started well, and Partick Thistle as well, because I think I think Mark took a lot of criticism when he got appointed, and I think he's doing a great job.
I can't wait to speak to him tomorrow as well. That'll be interesting to see what he has to say. Obviously, depending on how the result goes, it might obviously be different, but I think he's got to be delighted with the way his squad started the season. They've got a real good chance of coming up, and I feel bad for Partick Thistle, because it seems like every time they're switched on, they're doing well. There's a team in the league that are just slightly better. Like this season, St Johnstone might just take them to the league, which is a shame, because then they'll need to go through the playoffs, and it can be a real pain that way. So but you're right. I think Partick Thistle are having a good start, but also having a really surprising start as well. I thought they'd maybe be down the bottom end of the table, but they've hung on really well, and I'm excited to watch both teams play tomorrow as well.
I think when you consider as well, Partick Thistle lost Brian Graham, who was their best player and best striker. I think the job they've done so far has been really good, and I like Mark Wilson. I like listening to him. He's a decent guy.
Tony Watt up front as well for Partick Thistle.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed when they brought Tony Watt in, but I think he's done a very good job. He's a man in many clubs. I know with the Hearts, St Johnstone, Motherwell. He's been all around Scotland, and he's selling those. Robbie, I think if you see him tomorrow, he'll probably sell you. He'll probably sell you a pair of socks as well, because he's trying to sell those socks on TikTok. I see them all the time.
I'll make sure to bring a pair for each of yous as well, some Tony Watt socks. But no, I'm excited to watch Ocean Smith. Obviously, it's on loan for us at Partick Thistle as well, the midfielder. Always nice to watch Ryan Flynn, my favourite St player all the time. So it'll be nice to watch him in action as well.
I just wanted to thank everybody for watching. I think that's us done for this Friday evening. But I'm hoping that we're back on Sunday, Robbie, and then 2 big Scotland matches next week.
Don't remind me. There is 2 big matches, but I'm going to enjoy this weekend of football as well. It's nice to have the football, and hopefully it's all going ahead tomorrow, and hopefully the Storm Amy's not hit too hard, to be honest, and took out a lot of games, but we'll wait and see. We should be back on the Sunday, I think, but as far as I'm aware, we will be potentially after the Rangers game. I think that's a 3 o'clock kick-off on Sky, so probably be back on after that, and then obviously back into Scotland camp and discussing their games too. As you said, they're huge games coming up, so it should be good.
Yeah, well, thank you to Graham as well, and I hope you get the result you want tomorrow, Graham. But
come on, the Jambos!
Aye, Graham, if I can end with praising Hearts, I hope you go on and win tomorrow.
Not as much as I do, mate.
Okay, guys, well, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again Sunday, but if not, we'll see you again for the Scotland games next weekend. Thank you.
You're watching the Scottish Football